Hello everybody. So as you know, I recently did a poll online to find out what my new Tekken character should be, and I decided to commit to whatever the poll suggested. The results came out like this, which I wasn't exactly happy about, but it basically means that I now have no choice but to sit here and teach myself everything there is to know about Brian. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I really hope you enjoy. I guess that pretty much covers it. It doesn't make for a really long or interesting video, so I'm thinking that while we're here, we could have a look at one of the other characters that the poll suggested. The really funny thing was that it gave me 3 characters that I've never touched and am not interested in, but I guess out of the 3, Asuka is the one that I am the least uninterested in. I mean, Chloe's okay, she just needs to be quiet, but let's see what's going on with Asuka. First of all, the name. Maybe we should finally settle this debate. Some people seem to have an issue with the way I pronounce it, but what a lot of people don't know about me is that I lived for pretty much my entire adult life in Japan, and I speak all the different Japanese dialects, so Hiraganji, Osaka-ben, Nori-ben, Eki-ben. And the way you're supposed to pronounce this name, first of all, obviously the U is silent in Japanese, but then if you're from Osaka, where this character is from, when a word ends with K-A, you have to add a hard R at the end. So Asuka becomes Oscar, and that's the way it's supposed to be pronounced. So let your friends know if everybody's still confused about this. Let's spread the word. But let's learn a little bit about this character. So what I did in preparation was this morning when I was having my coffee, there's a little bit left, I was watching the Asuka guide by Fergus, which is, you know, the perfect thing to do because he's a great guy. Follow him on YouTube and on Twitch. He's pretty much the best Asuka player in the world, very possibly. So it's the perfect source to go to, and I learned some really interesting things. First of all, the standout thing, right, is that you have the worst 10-frame block Punisher of all, but then again, the things that connect to or sort of extend from your one jab are all kind of interesting and pretty good. And I'm thinking now, if I have this ability to turn every jab into a little bit of a mix-up situation, it could actually be very useful. I've been playing some Katarina recently, and just spamming 1-1-1 with that character actually gives you a lot of mileage, even against like Tekken God Omega players. You can have a lot of fun with that. So I think this is potentially a lot better than it's given credit for. Problem being, whenever you need to specifically punish -10, it's going to be quite rough. And, you know, there are a lot of -10 moves in rotation, things like Northern Cross, you know, things like that. But then, you know, it's sort of made up for by the fact that your 12 frame is kind of excellent. This would have been fine even if it did like 32 damage. It does 29, so it's a little bit on the low side, but it's big and healthy, good range, knockdown, wall splat. So the punishment, apart from the 10 frame, I would say is okay. You've got 15 frame stuff for launchers. The 14 frame is kind of interesting, 45 and Oki. The range is pretty good. I think what I like most about this is that it will obviously give you a floor break when a floor break is available. And 14 frame long range Punisher for whiffs or blocks into floor break is actually something that I kind of really like, because I do it with Zafina, because she can get down forward 4-3 into down 2, and then that breaks. And I've gotten a lot of mileage off of that in the past. And then for while standing, you have some pretty interesting stuff. You're kind of Giga-y in the sense that they gave you an 18 frame while standing launcher as opposed to 15, which is not good. But you get, like, you know, a pretty good range, I guess. It's not a great launcher, but then they give you something kind of huge and meaty to make up for that earlier in your punishment bracket. It's while standing 1-4. For 14, and then that gives you the guaranteed down forward 3, right, for 49. So I would say compared to Gigas, because he also has really chunky stuff before 15, this is actually better. I think the damage is better, and I think the knockdown situation is potentially good. I haven't explored Oki with this character yet, but I have a feeling it's something she's pretty good at, just from, you know, having played the matchup and stuff like that. So I actually kind of like this. I think it's pretty good. Speaking of while standing, I think the while standing game for this character is actually kind of crazy. The more I look at it, it's just very, very powerful. This kind of, you know, a counter hit launcher-ish. I mean, it's sort of a launcher because you can do this if you're fast, I guess. you get 60 plus damage. Now, Fergus shows in his guide that you can actually crouch cancel here and get a guaranteed down forward too. I've tried to do it. It's really hard. It's interesting. I found a couple of things with this character where there's actually execution. She's thought of being, you know, this big boob, big ass gorilla who just wants to attack with Unga Bunga launchers and has no execution, which is true for the most part, I guess. But there are some execution barriers in here, and I think if you start really exploring those, you kind of hit that next level with the character. And I think it's what's going to distinguish somebody who really specializes in her from someone like me who's just going to try and like have a run with her and see what happens, see if it's something that I want to keep going with, and then maybe I'll work on those execution things a little bit later. But the crouch cancel down for 2 is definitely one of them. Another one is this really interesting combo ender. So you know that I love in my combos to have an unscaled final hit in my combos. It's so extremely useful for shoring up combo damage. And if you look at my characters, like most of them have it. Negan has no exceptions. Zafina has Cursed Crow. Gigas has Excavator. Bob has 433 plus 4. And Oscar has, I think, probably the most powerful out of all of them. Because if you delay this perfectly at the end of a combo, the final hit here is actually 16, which is difficult to do. I've practiced it a bit and I can sort of get it maybe half the time, but it's not something that I'm comfortable like pulling out in a match already. But 16 damage on the final hit here is so big that you should just definitely work on it and learn it. And Fergus also explains that it makes for your most powerful wall combo more or less as well. Because I got it that time because the recovery speed is really good, but 16 damage is huge for an unscaled hit, right? You do have another good wall combo, the old go-to, which looks like this. And what I've done here actually is I've bound my 1+4 button to a shoulder button, because when you're running in from a range, if you're comboing, right, and you want to get this for the wall combo, it's kind of really awkward. So I've just bound a shoulder button so I can do it really quickly, and it works. Apparently the God Oki you're supposed to do after the wall combo is the back 4. For the combos, you have a couple of different ways you can combo with the character, and you have a couple of different paths that you apparently have to use. Some counter hits where it's difficult to carry and stuff like that. But for standard stuff, that seems to be where it starts for most people. And then I think what most people do for the spin is either this thing or this thing. But what Fergus suggests, because he thinks it's the most flexible option when you want to convert your combo, it sort of keeps your options open. And that's what I really love in combos. I try and like do a combo where I post spin can, you know, do different things depending on where the wall is, what kind of Oki I'm trying to set up, how much HP my opponent has left, whether or not I have rage and so on, right? So the option you can use looks like this, and it's 1, 2, 3. And that sort of spins really far, and then you can run in like that, and you get pretty big damage. Her combo damage overall is kind of low. She gets a lot of, you know, 58ers, 59ers, things like that. It's sort of Leo-esque combo damage. I guess Leo gets more at this point, which is pretty cool. But then you have some stuff where the damage just explodes and gets really insane. And I think the star of the show is this thing. It's really crazy, right? Because you get an unscaled launcher guaranteed on counter hit. The thing about this that I didn't know, again, there's like execution stuff with this character. This counter hit confirm is extremely hard. I'm guessing that what you do is you kind of situation confirm it, but you obviously cannot commit to a Demon Slayer right here because it's -18. But, you know, go into practice mode and try and do this like with a random counter hit, confirm it, and then do the guaranteed follow-up. It's really quite hard. You can actually, I've learned, do a 1+2 instead, and that works, which is really great because the 1+2 is a safe mid launcher. You have a bunch of like safe mid launcher, safe mid launcher, safe mid launcher, safe counter hit mid launcher, very safe counter hit mid launcher. For the most part, safe mid launcher. So she's kind of a fortress with long, powerful legs and some really crazy counter hits. Scuffed, block punishment, kind of low combo damage unless you learn this difficult delay. And then I think some very strong while standing stuff, and some very, very strong wall stuff, specifically wall bounce. You know, you can cancel the Demon Slayer and you can cancel the while standing 1+2, so you can like do scuffed wave dashes like this, set up your counter hits. I think the while standing package is really quite powerful. Now for the wall bounces, I think this move is, I mean, like, crazy underestimated. I've seen people use it when I play against the character, but if I had this on my character, I basically wouldn't do anything else. It's got insane range, it's safe on block, which is so good for a wall bounce move. -9, you know, so you lose your turn. It is a high, but I think it explodes so quickly, you know, 15, that you're not really going to worry about getting it ducked most of the time, unless you're being like super predictable. And it doesn't come out of a crouch dash or anything, so it's, you know, in a sense more difficult to duck this than an electric. It works as a really fast block and whiff punisher for mid-range if you want to use a high, and then of course you get your powerful wall combos on top of it, so it's really quite crazy. And I think this character probably works really well on both wall stages and non-wall stages, because the whiff punishment is pretty good as well. The other wall bounce move is this. So you're in full crouch, you're already crushing highs, you put this mid on them when they're already scared about your full crouch lows, right? And then you have this safe on block, huge wall bounce. It's so good. Like any other character that had this, it would be like -12, -13, but it's just safe. It's so good. Of course, this low is crazy amazing. It's launch punishable, which, you know, is a little bit sad, but you get that guaranteed Demon Slayer, and it's just really big. So this is her version, in my opinion, of like a Hell Sweep. Not a Hell Sweep really, but more like a Falling Leaf. You know how all the new DLC characters have like a knockdown sweep or something for, you know, about this much damage. That just means that when the character is close, you have to worry about getting mixed all the time. And I think you see this really funny thing that Oscar players do, right? Because they have this thing, and then they have completely safe mid-launchers, like this Arc Blast right here. It's basically Lars's Arc Blast, but better, because it's safe on block. So his signature move is just a really scuffed version of this thing that Oscar doesn't even rely on that much. But they can just walk forward and like forward dash and stand in your face, and then do this, and it's just gonna hit, because, you know, it's safe enough that you can just do it, and they're going to be worried about your lows. So that's pretty cool. Speaking of lows, I think this is one of the craziest low pokes like in the game. This is such insanity. Look at this range. Look at this range. It has all this range. It's got high crush. Look at the range. And this is what, -12? This is -12 on block. It's basically, I mean, if you look at the range and the crush, it's kind of like Zafina's back 1+2. It doesn't have the crazy mid crush that move has, you know, fair enough, but it does have the high crush. It has almost the same range, and it's only -12 with some counter hit properties, by the way. This move is absolute insanity. This deserves to be counted among the craziest low pokes in this game. This is madness. It's so good. So between this and then, you know, this for a strong close range mix-up, I think the lows are really good as well. You know, people don't think about this character as being really good in this game. She's kind of off the radar, not that common. Fergus and a couple of other guys, you know, making it happen at a really high level. But just looking at her for just, you know, half an hour in practice mode, you realize that there's so much stuff in here. And I think people look at her and they're off put by maybe the personality. I personally kind of am. I don't think she looks very interesting. And then, you know, bad punishment, kind of not very fun to do low damage combos, but where it counts, you know, big chunky counter hitty launching mids, and crazy mix-up power, and good on defense, you know, and keep out, it's kind of all there. This move is, of course, crazy as well. I think this move is probably better than it's given credit for. It looks quite powerful as well. I don't see people use that. I'm gonna try and find out why. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with Oscar. I mentioned that I don't think the combos are really fun to do, and that's actually true. I mean, if I do this for like a standard combo, right, and then run in, and it feels like at 5 different points in the combo, like it's about to drop and I'm not doing it properly. It doesn't have that like really satisfying connective tissue of like a Miguel combo or a Gigas combo. And maybe it's something that will start happening when I get some more mileage on the character. I think this thing is insane as well. For Oki, I mean, safe on block, guaranteed Demon Slayer right here as well. I mean, guaranteed Demon Slayer or Tooth Fairy or whatever you want to call it, all day, every day. What else? I mean, panic moves. Fergus mentions that, you know, she has some of the best panic moves in the game. She has this thing, right? 1, 2, 4. So this is, you know, what Julia and Lars has it now with 1, 1, 1 as well, but it's a counter hit confirmable 10 frames to impact string. They can just get people off you with that knocks down and wall splat. So it's just, you know, a fantastic get off me tool as well. There's so much stuff in here that just stands out as being more powerful than what you see on your average character. So she's probably underestimated, to be honest. You know, definitely not top tier, but definitely, you know, higher than mid in my opponent. She's somewhere in that range as far as I can tell, but then I'll start playing and I'll find out, you know, what's really going on with her. The Rage Drive, didn't mention that, but of course you get insane damage off of that. Keep out with this, you know, at mid-range, really good. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. There are some things that look really cool and fun, some things that definitely don't. I'm gonna try and make up a cool costume for myself to get a little bit more excited about having to look at her on screen. And then I'm gonna play some games. I'm thinking now that I'll do like a Road to Emperor or something to start with, not punish myself too hard. I'll show you those games when the footage is done, and we'll talk a little bit more about it and sort of wrap it up. Don't know if I'm gonna do like actual like guide content on the character, because if I'm gonna be honest, just watch Fergus. You know, he's got so many years of experience and so many, you know, subtle and cool insights on the character, that I think that's probably your one-stop shop for Oscar content, really. But all you Oscar players out there, let me know what you think. Let me know what I missed. You know, give me tips, favorite combos, setups, you know, for setting up counter hits and stuff like that. And then I'll take all that into account. I'll make some notes and I'll play some games and we'll see what happens. But thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys again very soon.